Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 5 of the PNR Formula 3 Championship. My name is Anders, and I will be your host for this evening. Formula 3 Championship is being hosted on the World Sim Series website, and you can find out more and how to join in right there. But hello all, hope you're doing well. As you can see, we're watching our current championship leader, Van der Hoven, sorry. And we are at Dragon Trail Gardens today in the Formula 3 Championship. And I think we might be into quite a close affair, really, for today's event. But before we crack on with that, let's have a quick look, once the screens sort themselves out, have a quick look at the championship standings themselves. If I can get there. Here we go, one sec. Okay, let's head over to standings. So here are the championship standings. Van der Hoven is leading the way with 82 points. Jay Skyring is racing tonight, sitting P2 with 66 points. Koba in P3 with 62, and Butler trying to catch the pack up with 60, getting the maximum amount of points for 2 wins, but it's also not finished twice. So the reality of them winning the championship is looking rather slim. But whilst we're waiting to head into the qualifying session, because free practice is just about finishing up, let's take a little track run of Dragon Trail's Garden. And around the final corner we go, DRS activated as we head over the start-finish line to start our flying lap here at Dragon Trail Gardens. Going to turn in nice and early. Flicking it down to 5th to keep the pace going. Harden the brakes down to 3rd. Car's telling me off for trying to go down a bit too far. Down to 2nd. Coming to the right, flat through this left-hander. If you get the line right, that was a little bit too far over to the left before the left-hander. Over this crest, long straight, down into a strong braking zone around the 75-meter mark, down to 2nd. Around this hairpin, it's quite deceiving. It's wide, you can carry a fair bit of speed, but the car will understeer outwards as we go through this right, then left. As we don't change up, just dab on the brakes to get around this right-hander, dab on the brakes again, down to 3rd. To get through the left, over the crest to a slight braking zone into 3rd. As we go through these quadruple right-handers, try and get on the power as quickly as we can as we go under the bridges. To this double left-hander, and you kind of want to forget the first one and set yourself up for a nice clean exit on the last one. DRS if you're within a second. And there is a lap of the Dragon Trail Gardens. Not a bad circuit. Quite nice. I think we're going to see quite a few mistakes, especially into this section here. You really want to be tight to the right here to allow you to go flat just like that, really. down the main straight, and I think we're going to see quite a few moves maybe into this hairpin if people get that wrong. But let's find out as we head back to Andi's trackside for qualifying. And we are trackside. Free practice hasn't quite finished yet. We can see that our championship leader is on one more final run, but as I say that, pulls up to make a stop, and we've got someone called Gray here on the softs currently completing free practice for us. So it kind of took us a little bit too early to that, yeah, to that track recce. But I hope you're all doing well on this Sunday evening. I myself have had a very difficult weekend with things going wrong, bills and other things around the house breaking. It's never nice, but still, let's forget about all of that and focus on this driver right here, Van der Hoeven. If we just go here, there we go. So look at Van der Hoeven leading away in the P&I F3 Championship with 3 rounds to go, including this one. 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry, no, yeah. This is round 5. So yeah, after this race, there'll be 3 more to go. And if they get the big haul of points today, it's definitely going to be tricky for the likes of Jay Skyring, Butler and Koba, who are sitting P3 currently for free practice, to make Van der Hoeven make mistakes. Now, all it will take, really, is Van der Hoeven to have one bad race, and everyone else will be back up on them. But we can see here a lot of drivers are going for the medium tyre. Personally, I would be on the soft, especially for this 5 or 6 minute qualifying session. It's a fast paced shootout here, and we'll keep an eye on the championship leader as they make their first run. Locking up the front left there, not good. Brakes are cold, tyres are cold. You can see just in the mirrors weaving behind, if you're looking at bottom right mirror, that's Butler, who in every single race apart from one has been very pacey, as Van der Hoeven's actually got a pretty poor exit out of the last corner, and it looks like Spoiler's having a few connection issues. But let's see how this lap goes anyway. Up to 6th gear. Harden the brakes, down to 3rd, already in 2nd, then 3rd, down to 2nd. Over the crest we go as we head down this long straight into what's possibly the most deceiving corner going. The 180-degree hairpin is quite wide and you think you can carry a lot of speed, but the car just understeers out. Through the right left and then over to left through the right, missing the apex slightly there. Down to 3rd, get back on the power, up to 4th. Down to 3rd just to help rotate the car around. This is looking okay for Van. Oh, he's put the pressure on a little bit too early, and we can see Butler in the background is no longer there. So Butler has had a spin, and looks like Pindley and Skyring have been caught up in it as well. So they're all going to have to jump to the pits and start their laps again. Van der Hoeven is going to come over the timing line with a 1:20.5, and I think that'll definitely be good enough for the top 3. Another driver that we need to keep an eye out today is Koba. Looking like they were quite speedy. Mayor is just cross over the line with a 1:21.6. And Koba, ooh, goes over the line, only 10th of a second off the P1 lap time. Now they've definitely got time to get back out there. That's a really clever strike there by Koba. Nicely done. Gray goes over the line with a 1:22. Mark Coulson just goes over the line with a 1:24. I think Collie can do a bit better than that. See about that. Spool has managed to get back in and is currently on their out lap. Lessamy in free practice in the Discord said, how on earth are you guys getting 120s? But it did look like in the results page they did manage to get it down to a 1:21. So you never know what's going to happen in these sort of races. Absolutely anything. And you can see Skyring. I'm guessing that's Butler behind. It is, and I'm guessing that's Pindalier behind. There we go, the Three Musketeers. As we can see, Hoeven's just crossed the line again. No improvements this time around. So what can Jay Skyring bring to the party as they head around T1? And I think if you're following someone in the slip and you're quite close, I think T1's going to be really awkward and tricky. You're just gonna be in dirty air. The car's not gonna grip up quite like it should. And over the crest we go. Jay Skyring down into the braking zone. Let's see how they do here. Locking up the front left. What's getting the car turned in. Good exit, but we can also see, to be fair, Van der Hoeven up ahead. Looks to be on quite a good lap as well. Bernardi with a 1:25. Lose control and is not going to get another lap time in. Now they've head to the pit, so that's them done. Early to third gear. Let the car settle up before putting the power back down. If you put it on too early, the track does have a small drop off to the left hand side around the outside. How are they going to attack this second to last corner? Nicely done, using all of the track of the width. Oh, just a little bit of oversteer on exit there. And up to P3, Butler P4, and Pindalier up to P7. So Butler definitely has more in them than what they've got on the time board right now for 1:21.2, and they know that this is going to be their last opportunity. Van der Hoeven has been out and has managed to increase their lap time to a 1:20.2. Koba, where are you? Going through the quadruple right-hander. Very nicely done. That's looking really sharp there by Koba. Let's see how they do these two corners. This is make or break, really, these two. You can lose a lot of time, but also gain a lot of time. Pindalier and Lamy have finished. Gray has finished. Bernardi has finished. Coulson's finished. Koba comes over the line to finish and moves into preliminary P1 with a 1:20.25, 1/100th of a second faster than Van der Hoeven, who has not had the best middle sector by the looks of it. And on the power he goes, using all of the exit curb, anything from Van der Hoeven. Moves back to P1 with a 1:20.1. Epic lap again. Jay Skyring does lap quicker, but Butler's also in the pit. So Van der Hoeven is going to be on P1 on the grid for our race today. Koba just being pipped by 1/10 yet again. Literally 1/10 yet again to keep him off P1 spot. Absolute epic lap there by Van der Hoeven. Jay Skyring sitting P3 with a 1:20.5 and it's looking to get as many points as possible, but you never know what's going to happen in this race. Butler P4 with only getting a 1:21.0. Gray in P5. Mayor in P6. Pindalier P7. Lessamy P8. Coulson P9. Bernardi P10. And Spool rounds us off in P11. So Koba being the unlucky one in today's qualifying session. To be fair, I thought the job was done, but Van der Hoeven just found that extra bit of time out of nowhere and just managed to just find something just that little bit more. That's an interesting camera angle, isn't it? Let's start with this, shall we? 30 minutes of Dragon Trail Gardens coming up, ladies and gentlemen. Sit back, relax, and watch 11 sim racers go at it for half an hour in the Formula 3 RSS Race Sim Studio, I believe it's called. V6. It's going to be a good one, I feel. I just feel it in my loins. It's going to be a good race. But we'll wait and see. We're currently keeping an eye on Koba, who's on the left-hand side. And here are the famous 6 AC lights. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, 6 lights. And off we pop for round 5. And Lemmy gets a drive through for a jump start. And it looks like Koba has got a great start off the line. Van der Hoeven's got the inside line going into T1. As everyone looks to make it through. Oh no, someone's off. Who's that? That's Mayor. Mayor has gone off. And Van der Hoeven leads by Koba, by Butler, by Gray. And Jay Skyring is all the way down into P5, P4 now. As Gray is off the circuit and moves down into P9, now P10. Looks like we've lost a driver somewhere. Oh, as Jay Skyring locks up into the hairpin. Luckily, Bernardi is not close enough to make anything of it. Koba, on the other hand, is keeping up with Van der Hoeven, even with the dirty air on the circuit. Everyone's gone for the medium tyre. Obviously feeling like the soft tyre isn't going to make it through this race. And you can just see the work that Koba has to do and the patience that they have to find to be able to keep on the rear end of Van der Hoeven with the dirty air. Bernardi is disconnected from the server, DNF. And there's a lock-up there for Butler in P3. And DRS is not yet active. DRS has now enabled this lap. So Koba needs to keep up. Gray's got a drive through for DRS. Which is a bit harsh, I think. Especially as it says DRS is now available. But maybe it means this lap. So technically they were on the first lap. And Lettermy has got a drive through for speeding in the pit lane. So a drive through for jumping the start, and now a drive through for going too fast through the pit lane, and that's really going to upset Lemmy's race quite somewhat. Bernardi is down in P11. Gray moves up past Coulson for P6, and these two are the closest cars on circuit, and Van der Hoeven has almost broken the 1 second gap, but to be fair, it looks like Koba has found a little bit of pace when it matters. As Mark Coulson is on the charge, we head back to Koba. Let's go for a little bit of a wider angle, shall we? Koba is within 7 tenths as it stands. I'm not quite sure where the DRS line actually is here. Could very well be just there. And he's within a second anyway, so DRS is open. Let's see what sort of effect it's going to have. Van der Hoeven currently sets the fastest lap of the race. And not really much of an effect right now. It looks like if you don't get a good exit on to the start-finish straight, you won't get much from it really, as Pindelia is slowly catching up to Jay Skyring, who seems to be struggling early on in this race, and Gray has taken their drive through. Then Spall moves up into P7. Lettermy is back in the pit lane, serving their second drive through. And drive through is taken there for Fabrice Lettermy, and Koba has just fallen out of the DRS range, but Butler is slowly catching up to Koba. So we'll have to wait and see if the DRS can do much more. And Pindelia goes by Jay Skyring, so Jay Skyring's clearly had a moment. That's a bit of a silly camera angle there, really, isn't it? Let's keep an eye out. But if we head back to Butler, can he get a good exit out the last corner? He's riding a lot of the curb. I'm not too sure if there was much of a drive out of it. The DRS is definitely doing something, but Van der Hoeven, regardless, without DRS, it's just set another fastest lap of the race. That's great. Looks to take on Spool. Oh, and goes wide. You've got to be careful. There's a lip around the outside of the circuit, as I mentioned. And Gray, I'm sure Gray will get by. If they are the quicker driver. DRS is open. But I just got to pick the right moment, really. And Coulson is currently off the circuit. Going through the uphill chicane section. Oh no, that's actually turn 2, is it? Nope, that's turn 4. Turn 4, there we go. So we head back for the battle for P2. Van der Hoeven has left them 1.3 seconds ahead, but Van der Hoeven tends to do this. He tends to push quite early, try and build a gap, and then get caught up. Spool and Gray just swap positions. Now it's whether Butler can get a much better exit this time around onto the start-finish straight, and it has to be good. He needs to be able to get on the power earlier. He's a lot more, well, he's a bit more shallow than Kober going into the last corner. Currently 2 attempts a lap faster. And the DRS isn't quite enough going into T1. Like I said, I think he's got to really push his car to get a good exit to be able to utilise the effect of DRS. And Jay Skyring is also now looking to maybe challenge back for P4 with Pindalea as Gray sets their fastest lap of the race with 1:24.7. And we could just see in the background there that Butler is certainly close enough to Kober, but it's whether the dirty air is causing too much of a problem to keep up. It's this section here, the quadruple right-handers. Oh, and Van der Hoeven's made an error, and Kober goes on through, and so does Butler. Van der Hoeven has fallen down to P3, and Butler might be looking to capitalise on the fact that Kober had to let off. And Kober might say, you know what, actually, yeah, you can have that because I'm going to have DRS now, as Kober gets a much cleaner exit. And Kober's got the DRS, so Butler kind of overtook a little bit too early, and Kober will get the position back. She's got the inside line going into T1, and now is a 3-way race for P1. So Kober leads the way. Van der Hoeven tried to look down the inside, but Butler had it covered. And we'll just keep the camera on Butler because we can see P1, 2 and 3 quite easily this way. As Bernardi makes an error and goes off yet again. And Bernardi is disconnected. And there's Butler going to try and go down the inside into the hairpin. Gets the car stopped, but can he get back on the power? Kober gets a much neater line out. And you can just see Butler's ready to take advantage of Van der Hoeven as Butler almost loses the rear end there. And into the quadruple right-handers they go. The second splits them. So we're going to see Butler and Van der Hoeven both have DRS this lap. But Butler needs to get a clean entry and exit into the last corner to utilise the DRS. And that looks a little bit better, but Kober just seems to have that nailed down. He seems to have that entry really nicely done, and I don't think there's going to be enough opportunity for Butler to overtake at T1. And sadly, the arrow's not quite there for T2 as Butler has a little bit of a wobble. I think Van der Hoeven's playing the waiting game here, which is quite a smart move really. Let these two have a go. So we'll just shift the camera over to Kober. And what we'll do, we'll just see what sort of effect the DRS will have down the main straight. Is we'll go on board of Kober looking backwards, and we can see actually Butler losing a lot of time there. The car's not looking too happy, and Kober seems to be in quite nice control of this race here. go. You can see Butler behind, but he's 7/10 of a second. Closed it up on braking. And Koba gets a beautiful exit out of that last corner. That's what I mean, nice and smooth. DRS is open for both Butler and Van der Hoeven, sorry. And it's not quite doing enough there, is it? Against Koba. So the DRS is not having much of effect here at Dragon Trail, sorry. I feel like here should be another DRS zone, you know what I mean? Like just along there. It's a slightly longer straight. Or it feels longer at least anyway. But look at Koba's just smoothness. Really nice style of driving here. Very nice indeed. In the meantime, Pindelia is trying to hold off Jay Skyring for P4, and whoa, Skyring's gone. That's going to be some heavy damage for Jay Skyring. You can just see the rear end flicking about, and now he might be stuck in a gravel trap, or if he's lucky, you'll be able to get moving again. He can. But that's going to be a very, very poorly car. Got to keep it moving. There we go. And there goes Jay. 18 minutes left of the race to go. And Gray gets past Jay Skyring. I was going to say, Jay Skyring is in a very poorly car. He's trying to stay out of the way. It's a bit tricky, but nicely done. But Jay's race is, I would say, pretty much over. He's going to have to go into the pits for repairs and try and gather as many points as possible. But this is what could happen to any of these three, really. We've seen Butler's car get a little bit wobbly. We've seen Van der Hoeven make a mistake. If Koba has the seamless race, then I feel like the race victory will be theirs. Oh, and Butler gets really close, and oh, run wide. He runs. Oh my God, how did he hold on to that? He ran wide, but Van der Hoeven is going to get a very good opportunity here. He's going to go for it around the outside. Butler's going to have to give him the space, but he's got a defensive line into T2, and Van der Hoeven brakes later and gets the move done. That was really nicely done there by Van der Hoeven. But Butler gets a great run out of T4 as they head down into the hairpin. Who's going to be braver on the brakes? Looks like Van der Hoeven's car setup is designed for straight line speed. Is the switchback going to be done? No, Butler just about fends them off, although Van der Hoeven is still looking. And there's a really nice battle between the two of them. But I think Butler runs wide. And Van der Hoeven moves on through. Great news for Koba, because the gap is now 2.5 seconds and Butler's still struggling, with Jay Skyring passing through the inside. Now Butler's smart about this. He would have let Jay go ahead and get the DRS off them, but he hasn't. And there's no DRS for... Oh no, he has got DRS. Butler's got a drive through for using DRS when he doesn't have it. It's far too far away. So that's a drive through for Butler. So that's Butler's race. Not over, but it's as good as. Now the only question really is, can Van der Hoeven catch Koba? Koba is looking like they're having a fantastic drive here today. Really, 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 really nice drive overall. as we just kind of admire Koba doing the business, really. Really good stuff. Let's check out through the rest of the field. So great. Pendelier moves into P3 actually, just as I say that. Just to say the name great. Pendelier has moved into P3. 2.6 ahead of Butler. But sadly, the person who is the closest to Van der Hoeven in championship is Jay Skyring, sat in P10, 10 seconds behind Mayor, who has just made, or has just stopped on track for no reason. Not quite sure why that is. Letting Skyring through, not quite sure why. Very kind of them. Not quite sure why that is. So Jay Skyring's up to P9. Fabrice Lettermy is currently sitting in P8, just having a chilled Sunday evening really at Dragon Trail Gardens. Mark Coulson doing pretty well in P7 as he goes through the hairpin. Nicely done. Spall currently sat P6. Bit more of a consistent drive from Spall today. Looking good. And Gray is sitting in P5, as I mentioned a little bit earlier. Again, having a bit of a lonely race. 23 seconds, 24 seconds in fact behind P4 of Butler. Butler is currently sitting P4, but has already closed a second down on the gap to Pendelier. Pendelier is currently P3 and has a bit of work to do if he wants to keep that, because, well, Butler ain't exactly no slow poke. And Van der Hoeven currently hasn't got an answer for Koba. With 12 minutes left to go, but to be fair, a P2 would not be the end of the world for Van der Hoeven, as over the line goes Koba, and Van der Hoeven just goes over the line for a new fastest lap of a 121.1. So as I say that, there could be something left for the battle for P1. Butler, on the other hand, comes through the last corner. DRS is available. Pendelier is doing a bit of Fernando Alonso weaving, and oh, Butler's going for the inside here. It's shallow for both of them really, but they both managed to keep it on the circuit, which is good. And that's Butler moved up into P3 with now a 19-second gap with 11 minutes to go. Sadly, I don't think it's going to get much smaller, because Van der Hoeven seems to be on a bit of a mission here as we go through the quadruple right-handers. And someone spun off there. That's Fabrice Lettermy in P8. And Van der Hoeven was only 1/10 quicker. And Jay Skyring now moves up into P8. So a few more points coming Jay Skyring's way. And Jay Skyring just set a 121.7. So he's only half a second off the race pace of the two in front. Oh, locking up that front left. It's going to lose a lot of time there. Half a second gone just from that lockup alone. You can just see the front end of Van der Hoeven's car understeering quite a lot through that left-hander. Quite a soft suspension really as well, by the looks of it. Again, wanting to get the power down early, but just can't. They're too tight of a corner. You can see half a second was lost on that lap alone. And can Koba manage this race very well? Let's see. Let's find out. Fabrice Lamy in chat says engine went boom from going over a curb. Really? Wow. I did not know that happened on this circuit. That's something. Crikey. Oh, it's Mark Coulson. Runs wide. I was just about to go and say that Mark Colley is doing pretty well tonight. Sitting in P7. Getting a nice haulage of points. As Van der Hoeven has now dropped another half a second. Pushing for P1. So quite honestly, unless Koba does something quite drastically bad, I don't see them really losing the fight of this race. 1:21.3 over the line. 1:21.4. Van der Hoeven. Butler comes over line for 1:22.1. So Butler, I don't think will be catching up to the front two for the rest of this race. Now that car that you can see behind, not that one. There's a green one just underneath our camera now. Oh no, that's Van der Hoeven. So these are the race leaders here. Catching up to P7 Mark Coulson. Bit of an annoying camera really, isn't it? Mark Coulson goes down the inside line, moving out of the way of the race lead. Now could Colley be very helpful here for Van der Hoeven and give them a bit of DRS? Let's see. No, doesn't look like it. So I'm assuming it's only on AC that you can get DRS off the car in the position in front of you rather than actually on track. But one driver that is massively caught up to Mark Coulson is Jay Skyring. Quite a few seconds there was giving way to the race leaders. So Skyring might get P7 just yet. And there is Mark Coulson just ahead. Mark goes under our screens right now and Jay Skyring follows. He's got a gap down to 2.4 seconds. As Van der Hoeven sets another fastest lap of the race of 1:21.16. And is making a rather late charge of Spool. Did seem to make a bit of an error, but not enough for Coulson and Skyring to capitalise. Jay Skyring here has got the gap down to 1.9. 18 laps down. A few more to go. You can kind of possibly see Skyring get it to P6. Pardon me, sorry for the yawn. It's been a very long day. It's just whether Skyring can keep it on track. The battle for P1, I would say, is as good as done unless Koba makes an error. But looking at the time, I just don't see how Van der Hoeven can catch him up. 2 seconds, 4 minutes left. Koba has been on it all race, but to be fair, Van der Hoeven has seemed to have found a few attempts here and there, and Jay Skyring is within 1 second of Mark Coulson. Let's see if they can put use to that DRS down the main straight. And he's gone for it. Coulson's let him have it. So up to P7, Jay Skyring goes. 10 seconds is the gap to Spawn and Thrunt, but the lap times also pretty good from Jay Skyring. So we'll have to wait and see. I doubt he can do 10 seconds in 3 laps unless Spawn makes an error. Can Van der Hoeven find 1.8 seconds? And they've caught up to a car ahead. I'm not quite sure who that is. That's someone getting out of the way. That's very kind of them. And I think that's Spawn, because yeah, look at the gap to Jay Skyring, completely dropped now to 5 seconds. Now 5 seconds in 3 minutes, depending on the lap time differences, could be doable. And it's still falling. He's down to 4 seconds now. So Jay Skyring in P7. Spool being incredibly kind might actually cost him P6. With 2 laps left to go, I would say. I doubt it'll be 3, but I would say 2 for definite. And it does look like Van der Hoeven has got a much quicker Sector 1 in that car than Koba, which is quite important, seeing as that's where the DRS zone is. Let's see what happens to the gap down this straight as well. Mark Coulson's got a drive through for cutting. That's a shame. That'll be track limits, not necessarily for cutting, but it'll be track limits. .4 is the gap. 1 minute 45 left is the time. Oh, and Van der Hoeven's made an error, and that's got to be it. That's got to seal the deal for Koba. Van der Hoeven in the same section of the circuit which gave Koba the lead has made what looked to be the same error whilst trying to chase. And Jay Skyring in P7 is not quite within a second to Spool in front. So no DRS available, but the lap time is 2.3 seconds. Now it's half a second, so quite frankly, I don't really see Spool holding on to that P6 position. And here it goes, in fact. This will be Skyring up to P6. But Spool isn't going to give up lightly. He's going to go hard on the brakes into the hairpin. And Spool gets the move done. Oh, and someone's gone off. That's Fabrice Letmy, is it? No. Oh, and he's tackled Spool. Spool's rear. I'm not quite sure what happened there. I think Spool came across. We're going to have to keep an eye out for that in in the reviews, I think Skyring couldn't really go anywhere. I was too busy looking at the car that was driving in the grass. I think that might have been Mail, and there's Sport just trying to get going again. But it did look like Sport may have just turned in a little bit too much to Jay Skyring, and as I missed Koba across the line, I thought it was going to be one more lap, but well done, Koba, for getting your race victory. Van der Hoeven takes P2. Skyring takes P6. Mayer takes P9. Butler will take P3 after DRS issue. Fabrice Lamy takes P10. Pindalier will take P4. If they don't smash it into a wall, that is. So Pindalier takes P4. Gray is still quite far around the circuit, to be fair, and Sport comes over the line to take P7. Coulson, where are you? Coulson also comes around the final corner to take P8. There we go, and Gray just finished coming around the quadruple right-handers. And up to the final two left-handers to take P5. And that's it. That's your four leaders. And as you can see, people have already jumped off the server, and that's great. So let's jump to the studio. There we go. That was a very good round 5. Mole in chat says Skyring. Yeah, it just looked like he came across a little bit much. To be fair, Sporley. That's all it was. Sent me into you. Tried to keep it tight. Yeah, that's kind of what it looked like. I mean, we'll just have a very, very quick look. Just in case. But I mean, that's pretty much what it looked like on stream at the time. Go. Right, let's change to Sport. As we speed along through. So a nice little drag race here. You can see Jay just... Yeah. It's just a curb. You did keep it nice and tight. You were side by side. You were more than fine. There was plenty of space left by Skyring. But yeah, sadly that curb did send you flying. Before then, however, Fabrice Lamy says that his car died on a curb. So let's see what happened to Fabrice Lamy. He said he went over a curb and it blew the engine. And that was it. And that's ruined the car. Just waits for the drivers. And now he notices that the engine's completely died. Comes. And into the pit he comes. And that was the end of the race for Fabrice Lamy. The curb destroyed the gearbox by the looks of it. And that's the end of that, to be fair. Engine went red. Yeah, just looked like completely just rode the curb, basically. Let me just load up the standings and we'll just hit refresh. I don't think it would have updated quite yet. Oh, it has already! Very quick with no penalties to go. So Van der Hoeven extends the lead to 108 points, but closely behind in P2 is Koba with 92. The gap is certainly getting a little bit closer at the top now. Butler P3 with 82. Jay Skyring is also now on 82. So the gap between P4 and the front runner being 26 points. So it's all to play for quite yet. Fabrice Lettermy is in P5 with 17. Mayor in P6 with 62. Colson P7. Bernardi P8 after getting DNF. No extra points for them today. Ollie Smith wasn't racing. And Spool moves into P10 with 41 points. Pindalia is P11 with 40. And Sobek in P12 with 38. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is round 5 done and dusted. Next week, we are heading to Barcelona de Catalunya. Make sure you get yourself signed up. Get a bit of practice in. I think that should be quite a good race. I think DRSO might have a bit more of effect this time around. And then after that, it will be Croft. And then after that, on the 10th of March. In fact, that's 2 days after our 3-hour Pretty Ninja 200 subscriber celebration on AMS2 on the Friday night. More details to come very soon. But yeah, that's looking pretty good. But tomorrow night is going to be another big race. We're going to Daytona Tri-Oval in the NASCAR for the Ultimate Sim Racer Round 5. It's going to be absolutely carnage. We have 11 races. If you want to get signed up, you have to be a part of our Discord. You have to get the password from there. And that's basically that. That's how you get involved with that. I think it's going to be quite the event. For sure, this time around. So I hope you enjoyed yourself. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe because it always helps out the channel. And I'm very grateful for every single subscription. Or subscriber, rather, that we've had since it started. We've not really aimed to gain any subscribers, to be honest with you, but we just enjoy doing what we're doing, and I hope you enjoy the content that I try to provide. But until tomorrow night, look after yourselves. Have a good Monday. If you don't, I'm sure the Ultimate Sim Racer race will definitely cheer you up because it's going to be absolute carnage. Until then, take care, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.